Yo, what is going on, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, a beautiful game of life, part of the Believe Network. I'm Ramsey Abushala, editor of UrbanPitch.com. To my left, on the couch today, we got the co-executive directors of Vibes, Bridget Flores, Julio Mataroso. What's going on, y'all?
It's been a while.
Yeah, Bridget's back. Blow the horn, blow the whistle. She's back. Been outside, been doing her job. But it's good to have Bridget back.
I've been outside on a professional level.
Right. Of course.
I just been outside.
Yeah. Julio, yes. Executive directors of Vibes taking the job seriously as we love. But as you notice, we're here on the couch. That means we have a guest joining us via Zoom. Very illustrious guest only on the Urban Pitch Podcast. You've seen our guest tonight on TV, on social media, covering the beautiful game, doing what he does best, getting all kinds of fits off.
Get your air guns out.
Yeah. On CBS, you've seen him all over the place. Aaron West, it is so good to have you on. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me for sure. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I think the last time, and I wanted to start with this because Roy talks about this photo shoot all the time. Producer Roy,
his claim to fame.
Yes. So I think it was like 2018. You came by. We did a photo shoot with these throwback Juventus jerseys from COPA football, Dutch-based brand. They do some amazing stuff in the retro football space. But you came by the base, our futsal facility at the time. I think you were doing a video there, and we wanted to send you these jerseys because we knew you were a Juve fan, and it turned out the timing was perfect, and we're like, yo, let's do a shoot. And I feel like maybe not so much now, but even years after that, I would see it pop up on social media. I feel like that was a pretty well received shoot, and Roy still talks about it today and how he loved how it turned out. So that was a good time.
That one was extra dope, and it's cool because someone hit me up. They were like, yo, your picture is on the wall of the COPA store in Amsterdam. I was like, yo, that's fine.
Yeah. So that's what Roy says that all the time. He says, I'm an internationally produced photographer. So I'm internationally recognized, actually, is what. That's how he introduces himself.
He puts it on his Bumble profile so he can get some matches. It's crazy.
He never lets us forget.
At bars, that's his first line. Hey, Roy, international photographer.
You got to use it. You got to use what you got, right?
Yeah.
If you don't tell yourself who is.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why we love him. That's why he does what he does, and he's the best at what he does. But today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Basketball fans, it's that time of year again. The NBA is back. From opening tip-off to buzzer beaters, we are excited for the new season to kick off. Bet Online has you covered with the best odds, biggest promotions, and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. This season, every game matters. Bet Online has every stat, matchup, breakdown, and live odds to bet on during games. And it's not just the NBA either. Bet Online has odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, to even political props. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here. A lot has kind of changed since then, 2018 and now. I mean, I still feel like that was 2-3 years ago, but that's going on, 8 years, almost, 8 years, 2 World Cup cycles almost from then. A lot has changed both in, the soccer atmosphere in the U.S. from a media perspective, from a fandom perspective, where it was, still thriving at the time. There was, we had the base, in New York, there's the football cafe. There's a bunch of different stuff going on. But now I feel like it's grown so much. What are some things that you've seen as somebody that's been in the space for so long? Just the growth of whether from a fan perspective, a media perspective, an opportunity perspective. What are some of the things that you've noticed?
Yeah, I think especially in the last 6 years, which is crazy to think about. It really does feel like it's 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a whole different landscape. Obviously, really serious stuff happened. COVID happened.
Yeah.
A lot of big life changes. But the biggest thing for me has been the growth of women's football. I feel pretty blessed to be regularly on Attacking Third for CBS, and it's cool to see just the growth of it everywhere, the explosion in talent around the world, the coverage, the improvement of coverage, the improvement of facilities, of treatment of women's players in a lot of different places. Obviously, we have miles to go in that arena, but everything has gotten so much more professional. And it's dope to see that, like, that growth and how much more like the men's game in a good way it has become. So it's been cool. Like, it's that explosion has been wild. Like, I covered the 2019 World Cup in France. That was super dope. And then it's continued to grow. It's wild. Like, people realize, oh, women are acumens as well. That's crazy. They also spend money. That's crazy. They can be good at football. That's crazy. And it's also, people realize that the ceiling is nowhere to be seen in terms of investment. And when people realize they can make money on a thing, they're like, oh, let's do that.
Yeah.
So it's been cool to like watch that slowly dawn on people, that if you spend money on women's football, you can also make money on women's football. Yeah, it's been cool to see that growth.
Yeah. I mean, I think Angel City, like we talk a lot about them being here in LA, and the amount of investment put into them, and Alexis Ohanian, one of the main investors, like he talked about that. Like, he saw a lot of potential and not a lot of money going in, and now you've seen that kind of just take off the last few years. Yeah. Even though, from a playing perspective, on pitch perspective, there's still a lot of work to be done, but in terms of Angel City specifically, but I'm talking as a bitter season ticket holder. But
they did internationally as well, record breaking in the Champions League. Yeah. So it's beautiful to see. Now, like, my nieces, they can see themselves there, opposed to they was not really there. I remember I dated a girl that played for CSUN D1, and their off season was basically playing for these leagues that were a lot of the women's national teams playing there, just because they didn't have a real league to play in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bridget. I mean, Bridget talks about it all the time too. Is how growing up she wishes it was like this, but now that the current generation of girls coming up, they can see, like there is a place, there's a future, and this is awesome to see.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll never forget, like, the day that we got to go to the home opener, the inaugural home opener for Angel City FC. Like, I remember standing there and just getting the chills because of the fact that, like, I was standing in a stadium that was about to kick off a women's professional soccer game. And I never in my life have ever been to one, let alone, like, think that it would be in the backyard of, like, where I grew up. So it was, like, one of my favorite days. To this day, I think about it. And we got a little work to do with Angel City FC, but, we love to see the growth of women's sports. And it even extends beyond soccer, right? Like, we see a lot of what's going on in women's basketball, and even, the sports, like Julio said, internationally, right? Like, I can proudly say, like, I'm a huge Barca fan, but I can bring that energy just as much, and sometimes even more, with the fem team for Barca, because they be kicking ass and doing their thing and winning championships. So we love to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really cool too, because I work with the AFC. I've done a lot of work with them over the years, and it's dope to see, like, once women came to the game, the change. I learned foot bend a lot because I'm, like, way too addicted to the game. So I'm, like, real deep into Ultimate Team. So I'm always looking at the comments and stuff. So it was dope to see the comments go from, like, oh, what are these women doing in the game? Like, what is this? Like, this is all this. Yeah. And then it would start to be like, you'd see other dudes, like, arguing them down, like, shut up, we're here to, like, talk about it, like, and then they'd talk about the positive attributes of the player. And now it's just like, there's none of the negative. It's just straight up, like, this player, like, she's got a 5-star weak foot. She's, like, real sick in game. It's just straight up the game, and it's really dope to see that.
Yeah, and even, like, the negative stuff too is transition from some of that, like, BS to, like, oh, you messed up my parlay, or like she's overrated, like you like, you know what I mean, like, all this stuff that's like actually focused on the sport itself.
Yeah, we're starting to get the negative side. We're starting to treat women's sports like men's sports in the worst way.
Right. Yeah.
Like, even to see, like, Sabrina versus Steph, like, that was a whole like meaningful moment as well, because we're seeing two big players go at it back to back, but it's like one is representing women, the other one is representing the male, but at the same time, they're both representing the fact that they're two amazing players doing what they love and not being judged by their gender, which was sick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Going back to
sorry for cursing, by the way.
Nah, you're good.
No worries. I try to calm down with my cursing.
10, my kids are
go crazy.
4 more F-bombs, come on.
Yeah. Aaron after dark. Aaron.
It's like BT and cut.
Right. Yeah. No, but going back to the soccer side of things, I want to talk about your soccer background growing up, what it was like playing the game, growing up in North Carolina, and just experiencing that and seeing how the changes that have happened today with it becoming more popular. What are some of the biggest differences that you see now versus from when you were a kid?
Yeah, I think growing up in North Carolina, it was always a hotbed for soccer. We always, especially concentrated more around Raleigh, there was a lot of talent, a lot of really good players, a lot of really good teams. It was tougher for me because I'm from Chapel Hill, but I'm on the outskirts of Chapel Hill, and Chapel Hill is 45 minutes from Raleigh. Everything is spread out. You guys know, you're from LA, you understand that, that distance type stuff. So it was hard for me to get to training sometimes, and to find just people, not even just getting to training, just to find people to play with. I would go out in my neighborhood and play 1v10 against neighborhood kids because none of them were any good. It was the only way I could find any competition. And then I had to stop playing with the neighborhood kids when I was 9 because I broke someone's wrist with a shot, and I was all right, we're cooked here. And so it was just me in my backyard by myself most of the time. Sometimes my brother would play. He played, but after 30, 45 minutes, he'd be done. And I was all right, well, I still want to play. I'm still out here just by myself. So the biggest issue for me was kind of finding regular. There was no pickup. There was no every day I'm getting touches. Every day I'm playing one-on-one with someone. I'm getting that creative outlet where you're playing in tight spaces with people. But club soccer in North Carolina was, especially for that time, very, very good. I really enjoyed my coaching. It was very, very competitive, but it's still the same. You got to pay a lot. You got to travel to find good competition. We're going up and down I thank God for my parents. They spent everything they had. They're real lower middle class, but they're driving up and down the Eastern Seaboard to every tournament that we every single holiday was a tournament. And I think about that now as a parent. I'm damn, that is crazy.
Yeah.
But they went through it, and it was a really cool. It was cool to see a lot of the guys I grew up playing with went pro. They went overseas. They had long careers. I gave it up a little bit after college because I was constantly getting hurt, and I realized I was better with a pen than I was on the pitch, and that every 3 games getting hurt was not really the way for me. My body let me down, so I was I'll get a real job at some point. It pushed me into social media writing and kind of set me down the path I'm on today. But it also gave me a real appreciation for people whose bodies and are durable enough to go through that grind, and who are professional enough to make the sacrifices that it takes to go through that grind. So it was my path was a unique one, but growing up in North Carolina taught me a lot, and it was a cool way to get into this sport.
Yeah, and it's definitely one thing to be able to appreciate the sport and watch it, but I feel you get a whole nother perspective when you grow up playing it, and you even go through all of those adversities to be able to understand what it really means to go from playing with very little resources to playing with all the resources, and even then that finding the difficulties behind that, and then being able to write about it. I feel do you feel that gave you a perspective, a different perspective to where you're at now and what you do now?
Yeah, 100%. And I was really privileged to play for a good club team in North Carolina, and our coaches put a premium on traveling. So we got to go to Scotland when I was 12. That was the first time I went overseas, and we played a couple Scottish teams, and I was they're not better than me. And that was eye-opening. And I was that's crazy. They're not better than me. I can play with these guys. These are guys in Dundee United Academy, Aberdeen Academy, and I'm I can play at this level. So I like 12, I was like, okay, I feel like maybe I have a future in this sport. At 15, we went and played. We went on a trip to Amsterdam, to Holland and Belgium. We played Willem II's academy team, and they were ridiculous. But I still felt like I was like, okay, like after the first 15 minutes, I felt like, okay, maybe I still belong here. I was real shell shocked. There was I just forgot his name, but he ended up going on to play for Swansea. He played for Swansea when Swansea was in the Prem. He played for a while in Holland, but he was a center midfielder. And I remember like 5 minutes into the game, we're playing this Willem II team. They're like, they got the crispy uniforms, the pitch is all slick. It's like at night. Everything is, I'm like, we're playing in Holland. This is the coolest thing ever. I'm with my club team. And this kid gets the ball in the middle of the field, like 5 minutes into the game, takes a touch. He like shakes a midfielder off, takes a touch, slams it off the crossbar from like 30 meters out. Like it dings off the crossbar, goes over. This is with his right foot. Our keeper's like, all right. And he's like tries to do the keeper thing where he starts yelling at people. He's like, show him on who's left, show him on who's left. Like he gets the ball off the goal kick, just the next play. Throws a step over, gets it onto his left, like looks at our keeper, hits it with his left, does the exact same thing, smacks it off the crossbar. Everyone on our team was just like, all right, man. We ended up losing, I think it was 3-1, but the game was a lot more even than like after 20 minutes, we kind of got into it. They scored a couple really good goals. I ended up literally breaking my back like 40 minutes into it. I went into a tackle on a kid who I thought was Dennis Bergkamp's son. He was like Dennis Bergkamp's height. He looked exactly like Dennis Bergkamp. He ran like Dennis Bergkamp. He wore the 10 shirt. And he played like Dennis Bergkamp. And I was like, did y'all just bring a Bergkamp region out here? And I was like, I was like initially very like intimidated by this kid because he was so silky, he was so good. I like couldn't touch him for the first 10-15 minutes. Finally, like worked our way into the game. Probably 30, 40, 35 minutes into the match, I go in, a ball pops out, I go in for a 50-50, and I was like, there's no way I'm pulling out of this tackle. And I was like, there's also no way I'm getting sent off in this game. So I go in with my try to go in two cleats. So this is, what is it? This is like 2001, so you can still tackle, but I was like, I'm not going to show my studs. So I went in with 2 feet, but I tried not to show my studs. But in doing that, I caught both of my front studs in the turf and like bent backwards, cracked a vertebra. This is also, again, this is 2001. So my coach is like, are you good? And I was like, I think I'm good. I played 10, 15 more minutes, had to come out after that. Later, way down the line, we find out I cracked my vertebra, but I did win that tackle. That's
that's the important part. Did you ever have the chance to play Dallas Cup?
So say again?
Did you ever have the chance to play Dallas Cup?
I never played Dallas Cup. My team started going the year after I graduated.
All right.
I mean, but we've seen the videos, man. We see like, you know, you could keep up with the Tyler Adamses and all that, you know, and despite what people on the internet might say, you know, you could send that thing a good, you know, maybe 50, 60 yards, like who knows?
Not quite 60 meters.
Yeah, not quite. Yeah, maybe like 58, 59. We don't know about 60.
One of the funniest internet beefs of all time, still to this day.
But so you ended up playing collegiately at Davidson. Can you talk about your experience in college and was that the time that Steph Curry was there too?
Yeah. So I was 2 years ahead of Steph Curry. I graduated in 2008. He would have been in 2010, but he left in 2009, I think. But yeah, so I was there for 2 years before he got there. College was tough. That was definitely by far the toughest period I had football wise, because college is such a different game in terms of it's 100 miles an hour in the worst way. There's running subs. So instead of the measured way that soccer is played, should be played, it's just like frenetic. It's 100 miles an hour. The games are back to back to back to back. And I came into college young. I was 17 my freshman year. I had just grown. Like I grew a ton. When I was 15, I was 5 feet tall. When I came into college at 17, I was 5'7". I'm 5'10" now. So I was like just constantly growing. I was always skinny. I threw my body around, which also meant that I got hurt. So I would go into tackles. I wouldn't shy away from anything. I'd go into a lot of 50-50s, but I was constantly just pulling muscles. I would also just like get very caught up into the rah-rah college type of play and just sprint constantly. So it wasn't a good style of play at all. I didn't really feel like I learned anything. I didn't really enjoy I didn't enjoy the coaching very much. And I loved my teammates. I just the overall college experience of soccer specifically was not enjoyable. Even though like at the moment I didn't realize I wasn't enjoying it, and you just look back and like, damn, I was not having fun at all.
Did you guys play any of the teams on this side of the country?
We played Santa Clara my freshman year. Drew with them 1-1. We played who else? UCSB. We went on a West Coast trip my freshman year, and what else? We play like every year we play at least like I think one California team. I always enjoyed coming over to play, obviously, because it's California. But like the football over here is always good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really like I didn't enjoy my soccer until really junior year when I played PDL with the Raleigh team, and it was really, really well coached, and it's not running subs. It's literally it's normal football. So like you have a set number of subs, and once you come out, you come out. And I stepped on the pitch, and the pace of play was like, I was like, oh my God, is this what it's supposed to feel like?
Yeah, I can relax.
I was like, I'm not just constantly sprinting, but get to knock the ball around. Like if I lose the ball in my corner, I'll have to sprint 100 meters back to my corner to cover. It was just a completely different experience. I really refound my joy and like love of the game playing pickup after college. It's where I met my wife. It's like where I met some of my like really, really good friends. It's just where I found it's my favorite thing. But yeah, I did not enjoy playing in college, if we're gonna be honest.
That's interesting. And now like the academy system across the country.
Yeah, man, I missed that.
Yeah. Do you think
like,
that you would have had?
Same. So I graduated the year it started. So my younger brother, he's 2 years younger than me. He played for Real SoCal. His team was back-to-back national champions, the number one ranked team. So the last year he played high school, it was the first year of academy. So just seeing him there, seeing him having finals week, they put him in finals week was at Dignity. They got a hotel in downtown LA. A bus will pick him up from Dignity, take him back to the hotel, bring him back. I'm like, man, you guys are living the dream. Like, I wish, like, can I get a certificate that says I am 12? It's like, man,
I was like, I'm gonna take like a birthright trip. Like a decade ago, when I looked a little younger, I was like, I'm gonna take a birthright trip. I'm gonna go back to the motherland. I'm gonna disappear. I'm gonna lose all my like papers. I'm gonna come back as a 17-year-old.
It was great. They had the time of their lives, man. They had all these tournaments. That they had the Nike international friendlies where they go to IMG Academy and play those games against U.S. national team and different teams of the world. So, man, I was like, I honestly was hating it. I was trying to slide tackle him in the middle of the living room for no reason. Like dude, I got an important game.
You just remembered he was over there doing
just
that?
Like shoulder margin him into the wall for no reason.
I was like, you think these guys are going to take it easier on you? Making any excuse.
Push him off the bed.
I'm just trying to prepare you for what to expect.
This is for
Get
your
stronger,
own good.
man. Oh man, but that is something that like I mean even Bridget, when we're talking about the women's game and how that's blown up and she missed that opportunity. But do you feel like some kind of appreciation for the younger kids now that have that opportunity to develop? And we're seeing a lot of young talent really like those crucial years of your between 14 and 18 of getting the dedicated time and training and nutrition and the amount of touches and the practice. Do you how much do you think that's affected the young talent that we've seen now coming up throughout the U.S. ranks?
I mean, it's huge. Like, I wish I had access to all this when I was a kid, but you can see it with the level of quality that's coming through and consistently. Like, these guys are going to good academies. They're going to play at a number of different. When you look at one of my very, very first jobs writing, well, actually, my very, very first job writing was covering Americans abroad, and it was in Europe. This was 2009, and what I was writing about, I had to scour Norwegian language, Swedish language, for second division Swedish clubs, second division Norwegian clubs, third division Germany. We had maybe one or two guys in Bundesliga, and as I was writing, we'd get a couple guys in Bundesliga. We have a couple guys in first division Norway, first division Sweden. It started to be more and more and more, and now they're spread out all over the top divisions, top 5 divisions, top 5 European leagues. And it's a different prospect translating that to the national team. I think that's a whole different thing, and I think that's why they brought in Pochettino, is to kind of try to get that grit on the national team side. But what you see on the club side is a product of the academy system and how much better the level of coaching and talent production has gotten across the board.
I know that you didn't get that experience of the academy, but you did get an opportunity to go overseas and to travel when you were younger and experience a different kind of, football and a different kind of playing against different kind of players, at such a young age. Now that we do have academies accessible to our younger generation, what would you say from your experience is potentially missing? Because I do know that we've talked about how having an academy is great, but also compared to the academies overseas on the European side, there is a difference, right? And even when there wasn't an academy that existed, there's a difference in the level of play, in the type of play, in the mentality of it. So what do you think from your perspective is what's missing in our academy training and coaching within the States?
I think it's before the academy. We don't have a pickup culture, pickup soccer culture. We don't have a deep pickup soccer culture. It's in pockets around the country, but you walk outside and you see people playing basketball all the time. Sometimes you'll see people playing soccer, and when you do, it's a bunch of random people who aren't very good. You rarely see a really good pickup game. You can walk around anywhere and see a really pretty good game of basketball, but you rarely see a very good game of pickup soccer. That's the biggest difference. We don't have kids growing up where they run out with a ball every day and they're playing every day with kids who are also good and also might have a chance to go play. If a kid does go out and play, it's very similar to my experience. They're going out and playing, and then it's them against a bunch of kids who are kind of mediocre. The next kid who's very good probably lives 10 miles away, and the next one 5 miles away, and they all play on a club team, but they're not every day playing together in tight spaces outside of the academy system. They're meeting up to go play, and then maybe they're playing on their own outside of it. So I think for me, that's the biggest thing. And it's also, this is a kind of what's happening in professional sports overall, is we're pulling from the upper middle class. We're pulling from people who aren't really necessarily that hungry. And yes, a lot of them have desire. Almost all the greats came from a place of need to be great, because they don't have that in their life. They got to pull out of somewhere. A lot of them have come from, upper middle class situations, but we don't really pull. Professional soccer does not pull from that demographic.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I was the best at pickup when I was younger, but we're not gonna get into that. I'm just kidding.
No, but I also believe that now shying away from playing college, it's always great because they have the rules. You can't work out with your team for 4 months or whatever that crazy rule is. And I always thought if you follow club soccer, luckily I was able to play it since I was very young. But you see these international tournaments, being close to my brother and seeing like his team was always top rated, seeing him playing against a Barcelona or different teams, Mexican. I think they played Tigres one year, and they kept up. And I always said like, how come we can't transition that once we get older? And my thing was always, because we have to go to college before we can go pro. There's no reason that I don't see that in any other country where you have to waste 2 years of a great development time in college where they really don't teach you anything but to be lazy, because you're going to party a little bit more. You're not going to work out for that spring off season. You're not going to work out as hard. Even though if you do one-on-one, it's not team bonding for those 12 months or 10 months you have to work out. So I'm happy that more teams are getting that younger talent and bringing them to their second team or whatever it is, opposed to sending them to college. Because honestly, I used to believe that was a waste of time for a soccer aspect, not for school. I think go to school.
I do think like before, like when I was coming up, like almost everybody, like if you were playing, unless you were exceptional, you were going to play in college. But now, like most of these guys are not going to play in college. They're in the academy system. They're getting regular training, and a lot of these academies are pretty impressive. Like if you look at what the Philly Union are doing, what Dallas is doing, what a lot of these different academies are doing, Galaxy, they're producing actual class talent that can go on and play at the highest levels, and they're instilling them with the tools. They're giving them the tools that they can go and play anywhere. So I like what I'm seeing from a lot of these. We just have to continue to, like, there's small tweaks that we need to make, but I think the biggest thing for me is just like culture in general. We don't have a culture where people just go out and play.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that we don't we definitely do need that. I think even like when we met, because all of us met at the soccer facility that Urban Pitch used to have, and I was honestly so thankful for that, because that didn't exist, and that even to this day it's like very limited to have accessibility to a facility like that. And it does, not only does it bring you into a community of people that love the game just as much as you do, but it's also a place where you get to practice and develop skills that you don't normally get to develop outside of that space, right? And if you're trying to, you're doing it on concrete and you're like messing up your ankles or getting all scuffed up. But that's just because we don't have that compared to, and it's also it goes back to the culture, right? Because when I go to Mexico, I see so many kids just having like quick scrimmages like on the streets, and they're like, some kids are really, really good at it, and they're playing with like the oldest soccer ball that exists. But that's just because they have it embedded in them to just want to play against each other and want to have the opportunity to touch a ball and mess around and have a good time. And I do wish that we did have a little bit more of that out here.
And part of it does go to what you said with accessibility. Like, we are a car-driven culture, so most of our stuff is roads and sidewalks and buildings, and there's not a lot of just open spaces that are open spaces that they don't chase you off if you do go and play on them, unless it's a basketball court, which is mainly for basketball, unless it's a tennis court, which is for tennis, and then it's locked and you can only go at certain times, or this field's owned by this municipality, so you got to go and ask this dude if you can play between these hours. And so it makes it difficult for, even if you did want to play and if you did have the people, it makes it hard to just find a place to play, which is, I'm getting frustrated as I think like how hard it can be. Like, if you ever just wanted to go out and play with your friends, it's like, where are we going to play? Right. Because that field there, as soon as you step on it, a security guard is going to step on and say, hey, you don't own this field, you can't play here.
Right.
Yeah, there's signs that say no soccer on fields. Like, it's crazy. And it all goes back to Big Auto, the big auto industry that they're making, these.
We only got like 10 minutes.
I know. These walkable cities.
Be able to hop on a train and get to you in like 5 hours.
Right. And the amount of times I had to hop fences to get onto like a parking lot or the tennis courts. Like, we used to wait till all the tennis people would get off the tennis courts, and then we would just rush in there and start doing scrimmages as much as we could until someone came around and told us we had to leave.
And those are the best times.
I met my wife doing that. Literally, I met my wife because my buddy and I used to go to UNC's Fetzer Field. I think it's called Dorrance Field now. But we used to go at like 10 o'clock at night because no one would be out there, but they still had the lights kind of on, so the pitch was fully lit up. We used to go out there all the time, just running around, striking balls from distance, being idiots. And my wife was out there with may he rest in peace, Kirk Urso, former Columbus Crew player. They were out there like training for real. They were out there like sweating, like homies out there, like doing real drills. And me and my buddy out there running around screaming our heads off, acting foolish. And my wife challenged us to chip a soccer ball into a trash can, which we both failed miserably. But from there, we just started playing pickup together, became really good friends. And like, we were like, every day we wanted to play, and we shared that love of just wanting to play constantly. So we became best friends, and now we got 2 kids. So that's where that led us.
I love to hear that. More of the story. I gotta keep hopping the fences to find my loved one.
Keep hopping those fences.
So when the kids ask who's better, what's the answer?
It's got to be mom.
There you go.
There you go. Happy wife.
We don't fake around here.
Happy wife, happy life. All right.
Y'all could be the inspiration for love and football instead of love and basketball.
Yeah,
that's a rom-com right there.
One of us has national team caps, and it's not me.
Not this guy. Oh, that's dope though. I love to hear that.
Yeah, and I mean, and the work that she's done, you know, the first thing you brought up in this episode was the growth of the women's game, and the work that she's done, you know, with the Players Association, with Gotham, has been just amazing. And she was actually on the podcast back in its previous iteration when we, like, you know, years and years ago, when our founder John Lee was doing it. And that episode, even then, you know, she had like the vision and the groundwork, and you tell that you know that. It was there, and just to see, you know, what she's been able to do in the game, is so amazing and inspiring. Y'all are really a power couple for
I'm telling you, let's get that movie.
Yeah, and now it's gonna become a new major motion picture.
Produced by Urban Pitch.
Started by Urban Pitch Studios is going to be the bankroller. We just got to get some
producer credit.
We'll be the extras in the back.
We'll be the extras.
I'll be the one getting stuck on top of the gate. Hey, get me down.
We'll put Ramsey as goalie.
I did. I'm not gonna lie. I did see a funny TikTok video of a dude getting stuck on the gate and his whole pants came off.
Dude, I saw that one. I saw that one. Yeah. Oh my god.
You can't show your after that.
You can't show your face. You can't show your face after that.
Move. You gotta change your hair color. You gotta change your facial hair, like everything.
Everything.
That was a crazy fence to hop though, because it was like the one with like the stakes on the top. Like
it was a rookie move. Like if you know you're not like that, like don't try and climb that.
Right.
Yeah, calm down, Spider-Man. Like relax.
Bro, like real fence climbers are only around here, bro.
It's real work here. It's like a real talent. You gotta know how to step right.
Go play a field B, bro, with the scrubs. Come on, get out of here.
Go back to the chain links over there. The chain links are that way.
That means you over like 3 fields down. And
right.
Like that. Like
you're not getting chosen on a team.
Real fence climbing hours only over here.
JV plays after, guys.
Man.
You're shagging the balls.
Don't come outside.
Indoor activities only for them.
That was crazy. I don't know how we got here, but I want to shift quickly to the fashion side of things, because that's something that we cover a lot, both on the site and on the podcast. And you know, whether it's kits, whether it's, you know, the real menswear hours, whether it's all that stuff, like you're seeing getting all kinds of fits off on TV, on social media. I think you're rocking the Urban Pitch jersey even when you're doing some of the La Liga stuff. Talk about your interest in fashion, how that started, and just like how that's grown as you've you know, been able to you know, change styles or you know, be on TV more. Like, what is that like for you?
Yeah, man, it's 100% from my mom. Both of my parents are pastors, and so like my mom was always very, very, like, she was dressed to the nines. She was always made sure we were always like stepping correctly. So I 100%, and like, especially like as young Black men, my mom always like impressed on us. She was like, anytime you step outside, someone will be watching you, and people judge you by the way you dress. So I never forgot that. It always stuck with me. And the first thing people see about you is what you're wearing usually. And I really believe strongly in the ability and the freedom of expressing yourself through what you wear. And I just I bang with clothes. Like I love clothes. So it's been cool because my job has been to be on camera, because then I get to lean into that. So like I'm constantly on like Grailed looking at different things. I'm always like looking. I'm always on just very up on. I just like to see what people are wearing in general. I like to see like that's gonna work for them. That's probably not gonna work for me. In general, I'm just like I like to see how people express themselves. And it's just fun for me to put that on, to be honest.
Right. Can you share a little bit about like what is it that inspires you? What do you like look for? I don't know, like if you have anything that like you really gravitate towards, or even anything that you found that you were like, I don't even know if this is gonna rock, and you end up like looking super fly in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. A little bit of everything. I'll randomly open Instagram and I'll see a sweater and I'm like, oh, that's dope. And I'll start looking at sweaters like that. A lot of times it'll be individual pieces for me, because I've built my closet to where like I know if I get one piece, I can wear it with like 10 different things.
Right.
It's a lot of times I'll think about kind of what I have coming up, like what kinds of shows I'm doing. A lot of it is kind of directed by my on-air stuff. Like if I'm doing it, when I was kind of more on the Serie A desk, I was like, gotta get this turtleneck game up. And the turtlenecks came because it's freezing in the studio. Like I went in there with like your normal dress shirt, like an undershirt, regular suit stuff. And I sat there like shaking like a chihuahua, and I was like, never again. This is never. It's like 60 degrees in the studio, and so the very first day I wore a turtleneck, everyone was making fun of me, and then like my boy Alexis Guerreros, he came in for morning footy, and he shot me a text. He was like, bro, I'm sorry for making fun of you. And like, he was like, yo, it is freezing in here. Now, if you see him on morning footy, he's always wearing a hoodie. He's always
got the layers.
Like,
he's got all kinds of layers on. Yeah.
It's legitimately freezing in that studio. So unless you are rocking layers, like it's not gonna fly. But yeah, it's a lot of it is driven by what kind of like shows I'm shooting, what kinds of on camera things. At least that's how I justify it, is what kinds of on-camera things I'll be doing, because then just I wear them in regular life. But I try to be on the trend, but not like too trendy.
Right.
So I don't want to like change the way I dress every season. But I kind of gradually will go in and out of like when skinny jeans were real skinny, I was like, all right, we'll ease into that, and then we ease back out of it. We're in the wide pants era, but not quite Jinko jeans.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I am afforded the ability and luxury of, because I am known for dressing, I can like kind of step out of the box and try stuff from time to time, and I'm like, can I pull this off? And I'm like, all right, I think maybe I pulled it off, and maybe I didn't, but I do feel the confidence to be able to do that. And it's cool to kind of be known for dressing.
Right.
But yeah, my daughter has strongly gotten that from me now, so she is like, she does not let us dress her. She feels like she dresses herself every day. She'll like ask me to help her in the mornings sometimes, and I get the call up, and I'm like, I'll pull out like 3 options for her, and she's like, that's a good one, Daddy. So that's my main role, is my daughter's stylist and my wife's stylist. That's my biggest priorities right now, to be honest.
So you're gonna have to spend money on her clothes, and I know on the Cooligans podcast you said you're gonna get her a car as soon as she can. So have you decided what car you gonna get her?
Oh man, no.
we got some time.
Clothing wise, we can do whatever she wants. The car, we got to talk about that one.
That's gonna take a while.
I can never say anything to her if she like wants to buy clothing, because she's watched me do it her whole life. So I can't sit there and be like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense.
You can't be the do as I say, not as I do type parent. Right.
Not.
You got to lead by example. Yeah, lead by example.
We might have to start.
She'll have it on, but we got to talk about learning how to thrift. That's
right.
yeah.
Upscaling.
Sustainable drip. Yeah.
Everything needs to be secondhand. All right.
Right.
No one knows that you didn't buy that off the rack.
The challenge is to make this look better than what it is now.
Yes. Yeah. So you get it.
Right.
Yeah. And then like it's like a flex, like when this is thrifted. Like you know that's like an
no, that is
level
it
of,
is.
You know?
That's like my favorite thing too. Is because I grew up like going with my mom to the thrift shop. Like you grew up going with my dad to play it against sports. So I love finding deals. I love finding. I don't care if it's used. I have a washing machine.
Right.
Like,
You got to use that thing first, though. You got to use it first. You're not rocking that straight off the rack. That's the
important thing. We don't just rock it straight from the store.
Throw it into the washer and the dryer real quick if it needs it.
But like I took my daughter with me to like the secondhand store, and she was like, "Daddy, what do you think about this?" I was like, "That costs $400. Put it back. Your taste is very
not
good.
Not that one.
Put it back."
She's got a good eye. And you can't teach that.
Got a fantastic eye. Everything she picks up is at least like $200-$300.
Right.
I'm like, very good.
She's advanced in her math already.
You're investing in her. The number shouldn't be a problem. You're investing in her.
Oh my
her creative
goodness.
No, she's picking out stuff for me. She's picking out stuff for me. What do you think? And I'm like, no.
You're like, I'm good.
Thank you, but no, we're not gonna do that today. I still got to go home to your mommy.
Right.
Priorities.
Right.
This is me sleeping in the couch.
Yeah, she's gonna be the one sleeping on the couch. No, listen. I know you got plenty of things to do, and I don't want to keep you forever. But we wrap up every guest interview by talking about some of the music that they've been listening to lately. So, what's been on your playlist? Who you've been having on rotation, and what have you been rocking on your headset?
All right, so two wildly different things. A lot of real Boston Richie, and a lot of like 90s R&B, like Mariah Carey, like Tevin Campbell, a lot of like, and then randomly like a lot of like 70s funk. So that's where we're at.
that's Julio. That's Julio's language right there. It's 90s R&B. That's all Julio right there.
If you see me drunk doing karaoke, Tevin Campbell's for sure coming out.
Yeah.
Can we talk, brother?
There you go. I just can't hit the I, but I'll try.
Yeah. What I do is before I go on camera for when I'm in the studio, usually I will go and set up at the desk for a little while, like 20-30 minutes before we go on camera, and we have our jib guy like brings a speaker in, so I'll connect to our Bluetooth and just set the vibes. So we're always just like cruising going on the camera, just like everyone's feeling good, like some 90s R&B, just whatever I'm feeling on the day, I throw on, but I always try to make sure the vibes are right. I'm a big music person, so I always try to make sure the vibes are right before we go on camera.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's important. We try to do that here
we got an Alexa on here that's like she listens like half the time, and so it's either like the vibes are really high, or like if she's not listening, she's playing the wrong stuff, then we're a little frustrated, and we bring a little bit of Black Air Force energy to the interview. Today was a better day. So the vibes are good.
Sometimes you just gotta have those days. Let's be honest.
Sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's what makes you human. You can't be. Yeah,
but we're shy about it, so we wear Black Air Forces with white shoelaces.
That's like
to offset it.
That's the Jeff Teague move.
If you ever see somebody with black Air Forces and white shoelaces, just turn around and walk the other way. There's something wrong with that person.
Right. We've tried telling him. He doesn't listen.
He thinks he's doing something.
Bro, if I see you on the street like that, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna put my hand in my pocket like I'm old.
No, definitely. I take those shoes to pick up, so just know I'm going for a red and nothing more.
He's known. Like, we have people in the comments like, "Yo, that guy, I played him in pickup like the other day. He got a red card in our game, like, which is crazy."
Yeah, he gives black Air Force white Lace's energy.
Yeah, he gives it off.
No, I'm an enforcer, so I'm a teammate.
I'm
a team.
crash out, bro.
super. But the thing is, like, I rock for my teammates. Like, I do whatever for them. So if they don't respond, I feel like I put it upon myself to respond for them. So the way I respond is probably not the best way, but I am working every day of bettering myself.
That's what his therapist told him to say today.
Yeah, exactly what my therapist told me to say.
That's important. It's important to every day just try to improve yourself.
Right.
If it doesn't succeed, that's a different story.
Right.
But
At least you try.
But the key is to try.
I went from straight red to 2 yellows. Like, I'm making progress.
That's okay. That's
Baby steps. Baby
Right.
steps. That's what I'm
We're
talking
with him.
about, man.
We're
I'm
with
proud
him
of you,
throughout
Julio.
Thank you.
Oh man. Aaron, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. This has been a lot of fun.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, we can go on for another hour, but we got some studio time limits. So really appreciate you again. You can check out Aaron on CBS. You can check him out on Instagram. You wanna throw your handles out before so people can know where to find you.
Twitter, Oeste, West in Spanish, and then Instagram, AYYY_West. I appreciate y'all having me, man. We won't wait 6 years in between the next one.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Definitely. And we're bound to make a trip to the East Coast too. We've been saying this. We're all talk, but we're trying to put that into motion at some point.
Yeah.
So the more we speak it out, the more likely it's going to happen in my head, at least. Yeah. We definitely won't wait 6 years in between, but thank you again so much. This has been another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, the beautiful game of life, part of the Believe Network. For Julio Monterosa, Bridget Flores, Aaron West, I'm Ramsey Abushala. We'll see y'all next week.